So this is actually my garage. This is based on my real house. So in back of my garage, I have a small storage closet. So you can enter it from my garage and also from my house, which we'll create the next room of later. So to create this next room, I need to pull out the slab here. So I'm going to grab my push-pull button, tool, and pull this out. Now I'm going to pull it out just a little bit, and then I'm going to let go of my mouse entirely. And according to my measurements on my floor plan, it says that this room comes out 10 feet. So I'm putting 10 apostrophe. And it comes out 10 feet, and it's important to mention, I'm sorry, it doesn't come out 10 feet, so let me delete that. It comes out 4 feet, according to my floor plan. It comes out 10 feet in the other dimension, which is already there, which I'll explain in a sec. So when I type in my 4 feet and press return, the room comes out to 4 feet. Now I mentioned that the other dimension, which is 10 feet, is already there. That's because this wall happens to be the same size as the wall on this side of the room. So there we have a 4 by 10 foot storage closet. All right, so what I'm going to do now, well, you would think that if I press escape to get out of my measuring tool and I go over to my offset tool, I can just do the same thing as I just did. So that was 6 inches, enter, and now the problem would be with that, when I hold Alt to pull this up, you're going to see that it creates a double wall here. I can't have 2 walls there because that doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to Command Z those actions, and I'm going to go over to my selection tool, which is the black arrow. I'm then going to click the first wall, the first edge that I actually want to wall on. When I hold my shift button, it'll bring up a plus and minus next to my cursor, which means that I can now add to that selection. I don't want to add the floor, I just want to add the 3 walls. So I just re-click the floor, and now holding shift the whole time, I selected the 3 walls that I want to select. Now I'm releasing the shift button, and I'm going to go to my offset tool, and when I do this time, I clicked once and released, now 6 inches, enter. It made the 3 walls, and now it doesn't have that extra wall. Again, I want to maintain my slab on the bottom to be separate, so I'm going to hold down the Alt button and rise this up. Now, being that I already know that this is 8 feet, I could just hover over here and it'll do that for me. Now, apparently, when I held down Alt, it didn't work, so I'm doing it again. There you go. Now it stayed separate. All right, so now I hover over here, I let go, and I know that that's the same height as the previous room. So here we have 2 rooms to our house with no doors yet. We're going to save doors till the end. So I'm moving on to my next room, which is a 20 foot in this direction and 10 feet in this direction room. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the 20 feet. So I'm going to take my measuring tool and measure 20 feet in this direction. So I'm going to leave the mouse there and just tell it that I want 20 feet. So you can see in the bottom right hand corner it says 20 feet. I press return, and you can see that a little node or anchor point showed up there. I'm then going to use my pencil tool because I want to actually cut the room there. So there you go. I made sure that my line was blue, by the way. That means that it's parallel to one of these axes. You always want to make sure if you want your line straight and not diagonal, because if I made a diagonal cut here, it would look pretty stupid when I pull out the room. For example, it would look like this. So let me Command Z that. That doesn't make any sense. You need straight lines. So whenever you're looking for a line that is parallel to the lines on our axes, it should be a colored line. So that's why it was blue before it turned into a black line. So now I want to pull this out. This is my 20 foot dimension from here to here. And I want to pull this out 10 feet. So I put in 10 feet, well, it's 10 apostrophe, and press return. This is now going to be my next room, except you're like, well, I don't really need that line there. The thing is that sometimes when you erase things, which is what I'm about to do, and that line comes from this line here, by the way, it can create other problems. So I'm going to do it now, but I'm going to show you how careful I'm being. First of all, I'm only going to click the lines, and I might even have to zoom in to make sure I don't accidentally click anything else that I want to erase. I could zoom in here and do the same thing, but I want to make sure that I'm not touching any other line. So don't let that little circle, and now I'm going to move with the pan tool, the hand. I'm going to move to make sure that I can see the rest, use that eraser tool, and click that. Now, how am I being careful? Well, what can happen when you're erasing sometimes is you lose like a wall. Like if I accidentally hit this line while I was erasing it, you could see something major happens. But it's not always something major. It could be that like when I orbit around my house, the very bottom of the floor is missing, and that would look like this. if that were to happen to you, it would look like this. This is a major problem, and you might not even notice it from right away, because if we're looking from over here, everything looks kosher, everything looks happy. So now later on when I flip, and let's say I did like 3 more rooms thinking that everything was okay, and then I realized this, it's going to cause major problems for me later. So I'm going to Command Z those actions, okay, and make sure that it's right. If you erase something and you notice something's missing, Command Z it right away, because you don't want to Command Z it when you have to Command Z the entire room that you just made. You want to Command Z it as soon as you make the mistake. If you don't notice the mistake, it's going to be a problem. So look around. I don't want you to have to do things over. I want you to do them right the first time. All right, so I'm going to use the same idea here. I'm going to select my 3 edges where I want walls. And again, I'm not going to select the surface. If I do, I'll just click it again and it'll go away. That's what the minus is for underneath the plus. And holding shift, I select each of those. All right, so that was again with my selection tool, which is the black arrow. I then jump over to my offset tool. I'm going to click once and I'm going to type in 6 inches, enter, and you'll see that it goes into position. I grab my push-pull tool and I'm holding Alt. I pull this up and hover on my edge. So again, I'm holding Alt because I want to maintain that slab for my next room. But I've just created 3 rooms that if I quickly measure right now, you'll see that they are the right size, including my wall interiors, they are 20 feet. Now you might say that, well, if I measure from here to here, it's 19 feet. My point of that is, well, yeah, you lost a foot for the interior wall, but when I measure to correct your work, I'm going to measure from one outside wall to the other outside wall, and that should always be an even number. Now here, this is the outside wall and this is the outside wall, so that's a little bit different. Things are happening differently there. But you'll always notice that you'll have a flat number.